breakdown. Going over UFC Fight Night Singapore, Holloway versus Korean Zombie, and Korean Zombie's retirement fight. Kind of like went out like a samurai, if you will. Went live by the sword, die by the sword. Actually, fight ended up for the minus 650 odds that we got on this, and like everybody saying it was lamb to the slaughter. Which, but like the fight ended up being like pretty entertaining. I believe it got fight of the night, and it was like a way better watch than I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it was going to be kind of just like not even that fun or fun for like just brutality's sake, like fucking Holloway Cater or some shit. That's what a lot of people on the internet we know were speculating that we may witness, but actually ended up being a banger of a fight, entertaining.
Definitely entertaining. I definitely think that has a lot to do with Korean Zombie. Just his willingness to pretty much throw caution in the wind at the point that he realizes like he's not finding, like for instance, if he is not finding success early, he'll just start going for it, which always makes for a good fight if you're asking me.
Yeah, yeah, especially against a guy like Holloway, who's a striker, and isn't going to try to just hold him down. It was honestly like, I'll be real. I spent like 2 weeks talking about how this was dog shit matchmaking, kind of gas matchmaking. Like it ended up being hindsight
Right.
2020.
Yeah,
Like
honestly, like a lot of
stylistically,
the
man.
fights too.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. And just if we seem a little rushed today, I got work in a couple hours. We're gonna try to turn and burn here. Also, your boy's a complete fucking jerk off. I like thought that they were in the middle of the night, Saturday night, which kind of were. I don't know. The verbiage still gets a little confusing when I talk about it. Like I was obviously early in the morning Saturday. My brain computed that to be like, yeah, I'm gonna stay up late Saturday night. I literally didn't. I was like up late, going to bed at like 2 a.m. West Coast time, and I was just scrolling Twitter, just doom scrolling one last time before bed, and I see it was like the British bantamweight Leroy Murphy, and he was like, "Oh, this first round's a banger." I was like, "Oh, that's a good troll job. Way to fuck with all the UFC fans that are confused about the time of the fight, like me." And I was like, "Oh wait, no, this is." I checked my ESPN app. I'm like, "Well, at this point, I can't stay up all night." So I literally watched the fights like a day late because like my brain just could not compute that like 2 a.m. I'm used to staying up till 2 a.m. on a Saturday and be like, "Oh, this is 2 a.m. Saturday." I got all mixed up in my head. Literally missed the fight by like 24 hours, just like a complete dumbass. So shout out to me for that.
Shout out, but also, I mean, it kicked off the main card with honestly some electricity, right? Not the maybe not
Yeah.
the best name value. You got Junior Taffa and Parker Porter. What was
Are
Taffa's
we
odds here?
are we going back to the start of the main card? Or are we just going to work our way backwards from Holloway Zombie?
Oh, smart.
Uh,
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do
yeah, just
that.
because I feel like we're half set up for that. I mean, we introduced it. We talked about how good of a fight it was. I gave Zombie round two, man. No, actually, no, I did not give Zombie round two, but
Yeah, I was like, so
like
I was
he
about to
was.
look at you and say, what?
No, no, he was a dog. He was landing. He was getting his shots off. He was coming forward. Like he was touching Max's chin with hard shots. Now Max has like a legendary chin. Um, Max ends up getting the third round. The beautiful, almost the same O'Malley Sterling counter in a way, like just like the timed right hand on the entry. And it fell face first, just like Sterling did. Like it was honestly like deja vu. But like Zombie, literally, it was like the scene of like a Vietnam War movie where like they're all pinned down, and the guy just takes his fucking Ma Deuce just over the ring and just storms, and just like it was literally going out on your shield, bro. Like it was
Yeah,
some action movie. Like it didn't seem like real life. Like no actual human, actual trained fighter. Like he literally just like kamikazed it and like no like Asian type joke intended there, but like literally just like just suicide bombed it. Just literally just like there was no way he was like gonna come out of that on top. He just straight up just samurai'd it, kamikazed it, just went out on his shield, just literally blitzed into a field of fire.
it felt like every minute of the fight as it went on got further and further apart because I thought Zombie started really well. I thought he had good volume. Now I will say one judge scored the first round for Zombie. I disagree with that. I think a lot of his shots that looked like they were somehow getting in were not landing clean or were being blocked inside. I think the
Yeah,
finish
I'll say
really
it
shows
was a
that.
war. It was a war of a round, though. It was a
Yeah,
war of a
and he
round.
was landing some good shots, and I think he has the power advantage. So him having the power advantage definitely let me think that, or led me to believe that even though he landed less, still landing impactful shots, I still scored it for Holloway. Close round, right?
Me too.
Second round,
Yeah.
Holloway starts to pull away, gets the knockdown, and was just beating him up. One judge went 10-8 for Holloway. I didn't. I went 10-9, so I had it 20-18 for Max. We have one judge
Well, plus
19-18, one judge 19-19, one judge 20
that
18.
that Darce choke attempt in round two was insane. After he dropped him, Max tried to be a gentleman and not land the Ngannou Stipe punch, and decides to kind of roll for the Darce. Locked it up.
I don't know how Zombie was able to keep breathing there.
Like, that was some Volkanovski Ortega level of like sub defense. Like, seriously, like Zombie was a zombie in that moment. Holloway talked about it in the post fight pressure. Yeah, that was impressive too. I went 10-9 too, just because of Holloway, and Holloway like managed to survive all. I mean, Zombie managed to survive all that and get a couple shots off at the end of the round. Like, he never stopped. Like, he never quit. He never. Yeah, he just. I don't know. I didn't go 10-8 either. Round three, the KO lands.
23 seconds in, I mean,
yeah.
it was pretty much like he decided at the start of the round, like, all right, go out on my shield time.
Yeah, no, literally, that's what I made my like kamikaze analogies. Like, he decided when that fight ended. Like, all credit to Max, like he landed the shot, but like,
Yeah,
like, it was some action movie shit. Like, there was no like logic or fight IQ to it. He literally just like ran face first into a right hand. Like,
well, it was unfortunate too because like his last combo was like a 10-piece combo he threw, and like none of them really landed clean. Like in the slow mo, that was kind of the story of the fight, was that he was throwing these nice combinations, but Max's defensive boxing and stance is so nice that he honestly was blocking almost all the shots Zombie was throwing. He really only got hit a few times, like square and clean, whereas Zombie was getting hit
yeah,
clean a lot.
for sure, for sure. It's pretty sick seeing a knockout from Max. I mean, to be honest, like a kind of a decision master.
He was
Um,
stoked on the knockout too. You could tell.
I mean, highlight reel knockout for sure. And I gotta say, I mean, definitely Chance Sung Jun's retirement was like pretty emotional. Like, the fucking song playing, the Cranberry song playing, it was sick. It's always a vibe. Him crying there with his wife and just going out like an absolute gangster. And I gotta say, like, yes, he got knocked out, but it felt very different than like the Frankie Edgar knockout. Like, he did not look washed. Like, he looked great.
No, it looked like the right time to retire.
Like, he looked like maybe, like he's ranked 8th. He looked like the 8th ranked guy. He was just fighting the 1 ranked guy. Like, he didn't look like super ass, like, doesn't have it anymore. Like, I mean, not to be disrespectful, we just saw Weidman fight. Like, that didn't look like a contender. Like, he didn't have that Edgar Weidman look to him. He didn't look washed.
Like if he was fighting Sadiq Yusuf or Dan Ige, I think it's a very close fight.
Well, that was one of his last good performances, was beating Ige, I believe, is what got him back relevant. And then, but you're right, it's Sadiq Yusuf. Hell, I mean, no spoiler, but after what I saw out of Giga Chikadze, I think he maybe beats Giga Chikadze. Like, the way he fought, like, I don't know. We can keep it pushing, but I'm just saying, Zombie went out like a G, didn't go out like at the bottom of his game. Like, you can't say it was the top of his form. But, like, he's only 36 years old. He's, like, 2 years older than Volk. Like, we speak about him like he's 47. Like, I don't know. Like you said, yeah, went out his way, not necessarily his land, but, like, close, probably as close as he was going to get in Asia. Big fan base. Went out like a G. Fought really well. Didn't look washed. It wasn't a lamb to a slaughter. It was supposed to be. Vegas said it was going to be. It wasn't.
I also loved, he put out a statement, I think, yesterday about kind of the retrospect of his career, like in quick, like in what is it, like in quick reaction, right? So essentially he was saying though that he was never a champion, but he would feel greedy to say that like he didn't have a great career and that he didn't like appreciate who he was and who he's become because of it. So I was like, I don't know, I just felt really appreciative. I thought it was cool to say it, like for him to call it greedy, to say that he would needed to win a title to be considered like great or feel great.
Dude, so real. Like, that's some grown man shit. Like, I mean, anybody who's had to like adjust their goals or whatever as we get older, like, I mean, super relatable. Like, there can only be one champ. 99.9% of guys never have a piece of gold around their waist in the UFC. So Yeah, no, like, but to have that like clairvoyance, that
That
just keeping
perspective,
it,
like a day after
yeah.
your career's over, is insane. I thought.
No, like it's what we all want to see a guy like Tony Ferguson say, right?
God,
Or a
it's so
Weidman. Like
true.
there's like once again, 99% of fighters aren't able to have that perspective. So yeah, hats off to Korean Zombie. Fucking me and every other UFC fan listening to Cranberries for like the past 48 hours. Yeah, I mean it was a great retirement fight, honestly. The main event, like, yeah, nothing but nice things to say. And then Holloway, also not washed, like 31 years old, still got it. Like, God damn it, if Volk never exists. Like, everybody always said, if Usman doesn't exist, Covington's champ. Like, 1,000% Volk, like, he's on like a 10-year title run, like John Jones level status if Volkanovski was never born. Like, seriously, or kept playing rugby. Like,
Man,
it's wild.
I think
There's
it's
never been.
I think it's time for Max to go up to 55.
Yeah, I mean, especially
Just
with those
nothing
guys
left at
aging out, the
45. And
Chandlers, the Gages, the Poiriers, they're all aging out. He could be the last man standing.
I know, and he's still what, 32, 31. He'll be 32
31,
in
yeah.
December.
It's
So it's like
insane
he's
that he's still
younger
going.
by 5 years than Gaethje and Chandler and those guys. So
And McGregor and all those guys, the whole
right.
top five is about to be. Charles is 35, I think. Like, all those guys are about to be out of there.
And I would say 45ers bring a lot more technical approach to 55ers. 55ers usually guys that suck insane amounts of weight to get to 55 and might not be quite as technical as we've seen
Like I,
recently.
like I think Holloway like dog walks like a Gamrot or like a.
I
You know
think
what I'm
Saruki and
saying?
Holloway is a super fun fight, but I think
Yeah.
Saruki gets in trouble with Holloway's ground game because it's actually so good.
What about we were just chatting with them on IG? Shout out. What about Tarantula? Got Jalen Turner. Holloway's a
Interesting too
banger.
because Holloway's 5'11 and he has good
Yeah,
reach. So it's like
yeah, for sure.
he translates well to 55, especially if he would just put on muscle. Like if he would just
Yeah,
take a year off and really try to like build muscle. But that's neither here nor there. I think we can keep it pushing to
yeah. Let's.
a guy that I want to get to both these guys, but specifically Anthony Smith and like where he's at in his career. But that obviously is going to take place after we break down this fight because that's going to have a big
Yeah,
impact on where this fight is or where his career
35
is.
years old, eighth ranked light heavyweight, plus 110 underdog, Anthony Lionheart Smith taking on Ryan Spann in the rematch, minus 130. I'm pretty sure Smith got the sub in their first matchup in the first round. Um,
Yeah, the rear naked.
and and man, I gotta say, man, I thought this was a controversial decision. So we got a split decision, and you can be that guy that's like, oh, close fights never a robbery. I think that's a jerk off thing to say. I think like, a fight can be close. Like football games are close all the time, and there's a winner and a loser. Basketball, insert sport. So just to say like, oh, that Super Bowl is really close. I guess it doesn't matter who won. Like MMA fans are the only fucking idiots that say shit like that.
I'll give you an example of this though. The Rams and Saints game was close where they missed the Roby Coleman call, and it's like
Yeah, but nobody's saying that. Like, I mean, I don't know. I
there
feel
are
like,
Saints fans that say they won that game or rightfully should have won that game, or that they in fact
yeah,
didn't lose that game.
and the Dez caught it fan, but like,
I'm just saying
but
there
but
are
the
those people.
yeah, and they're the worst. Like, yeah, man. So we'll get to this decision. We gotta go round by round. I thought round one, clear cut Anthony Smith. The
Nice leg
volume,
kicks, good volume.
the calf kicks, landed some clean right hands, got a takedown. Like Anthony Smith, no debate.
Right.
Wasn't really that close of a round, which sucks because Ryan Smith usually comes out on fire. Or Ryan Spann, but like he came out just kind of lackadaisical. Which that's his thing, man. You never know which Ryan Spann's going to show up. Certain day, like the guy that knocked out was it Dom Reyes when he knocked Dom Reyes into Jupiter, like
Yeah.
like that guy like is a guy. And then this guy rolls out, and it's like, what are we even doing here? That being said, you see round two for Spann, I imagine.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he dropped Smith, but it was like a weird. I mean, it's hard to describe what caused Smith to go down because he got hit in the eye with like a right-left combination, both on the same eye, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah,
But
that was weird, but like
it was like
oddly
he like
effective.
pieced out like just the corner of his face. I was like, damn,
Yeah,
that's like
bro, bro.
sniper accuracy, like on both sides of the orbital. Um, but Anthony Smith said it just caused him to like have like blurry vision in his eyes, so he went down, and I was like, it's a terrible response.
Yeah, well, no, and
I
bro,
mean,
like
not trying to like
that
back up,
actually
like
is.
falling. Like it makes me think because I thought he got knocked down live.
Yeah, and I think saying that you got knocked down is better than saying my eyeball hurt, so I sat
Right,
down.
right.
Like just say have you seen that guy? He's a fucking unit. He cracked me twice clean, and I went down. Like
And
that, I think that
and
sounds better.
and then he took forever to recover. I felt like too, and I was like, well, if it's just your vision, like you shouldn't have eaten so many punches to the head. Like I feel like you would have definitely like felt your way into a better spot. At least use your
No, for
one good
sure.
eye.
And then Spann was able to kind of secure top control, top position after the knockdown, which I thought he should have done a lot more of that. He had Anthony Smith hurt, I thought if he would have, I mean, all that power in Ryan Spann's hand, that one ground and pound shot's all it take, that right one.
Well,
I thought he
yeah,
had a missed opportunity there.
and to Anthony Smith's own words, couldn't see out of one eye. So
Yeah. And then no, round three is where the controversy comes down to. Um, And I'm just gonna give a real like caveman explanation. Like you've been seeing like the social media where it's like explain it to me like I'm five. Like
I
I'll
like
explain it to
Ryan
you like
Spann's damage.
well, no, like bro, I thought 4 minutes of the round was dead even coin flip. Just I mean, you really could pick a winner at that point. It was razor close. But I thought one guy clearly won like the last minute of the fight by like a decently wide margin. And I'm that's not always the end all be all, but when the first 4 minutes are literally like a toss up, like literally as even close, like I don't even have an opinion, give it to whoever. And then one guy wins the last minute like pretty decisively, like not really up for debate, like kind of beating the shit out of him for the last minute of the fight. I don't see how you give it. I mean, and the guy that won the last minute was Spann. I just don't really understand how you give it to Anthony Smith. And that's what I'm saying. Like the people that are saying like a close round doesn't matter. There's no robbery. Like, yeah, like Ryan Smith Spann like won that round. Like he finished the round so much more damage.
See,
Like I said, the first
I would disagree on that because I thought Anthony Smith was cracking him
ah
at the start of the round. And in the first minute and 15, he was landing all the right hands.
the first 4 minutes of that round was like tit for tat trading shots. Like
Not the first minute, right? Spann wasn't really because he was getting calf kicked every time he tried to sit down on it, and then he switched stances and was able to land a few, and then Anthony Smith got gun shy, and they started going back and forth for 3 minutes, and then Ryan Spann bullied him in the last minute. I give you that for sure.
I still feel like the round you just described is a round that Spann wins. Like even using your words. Like
I scored it for Spann as well, but I'm just
yeah.
saying I can see the case for Anthony Smith here.
I'm glad you're bringing that perspective to the show. It makes for a better show. I am staunchly that like Spann got hosed here. Um, and I'm also salty because that means Lionheart's not going to retire now, and we're
Right?
probably going to get
Okay.
another Lionheart Apex main event. I feel the way about Lionheart main events that the internet feels about how Holy Home main events. Like we're going to get roped into another one here now because of this Fugaze decision. But we both
So
scored at the Spann. I'm glad the record shows
So
that.
we're gonna get Smith Rakic fight night for sure. I think Rakic is gonna be the one to dispense of Smith because he's not gonna be able to
Well,
get his kick game going, and I genuinely think that's gonna be the path.
yeah, man, I don't know. I don't like watching Anthony Smith fight. I definitely don't want to see him in another main event. I think Spann actually has like potential and future and can like be a problem in the division.
What did you feel
I
about
just,
Anthony Smith's words after the fight, though? It seemed like he wasn't really all that into fighting much longer either.
well, no, he's been hitting at it a long time. I mean, he's 35 years old. He's had 1.5 million fights.
55 professional fights.
He's the exact opposite of what we're saying about TKZ. Like TKZ realized that, like, yeah, I'm the eighth best guy in the world, but like, I'm not going to be a champ. Like, time to hang it up. Anthony Smith is like just like on that delusional T Ferg shit where, like, oh, I got one more run in me. I'm this close to the top, but like Ryan thing, or I mean, God damn it, Anthony Smith is closer to being the 15th best guy in the world than he is to being the first best guy in the world. I think. I mean, he lost to Ankalaev. He lost to Walker. Um, he lost to Rakic. He lost to Glover. He pulled out of the fight, I believe, against Jamal Hill.
Oh, Smith has a loss to Rakic.
Yeah,
Oh, is he not
does
fought?
in
Is he not fought
2020.
Krylov? Is that who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, he hasn't fought
Okay,
Krylov.
Smith Krylov is the
He
main event.
hasn't fought Prohaska. It's like, see, he beats the Devin Clarks and Jimmy Croots of the world, and then loses this to the Rockets, the Teixeiras, the Walkers, the Ankalaev of the world. Like, he's not that guy. Like I think Johnny Walker has a better shot of winning a light heavyweight title than him, and I don't think Johnny Walker can win a light heavyweight title. So, yeah, I just think Anthony, like getting this split decision win just extends this like mid ass run that I think most UFC fans are over. Personally, I mean, I'm not trying to speak for anybody else. I know I'm kind of over it.
I think we're all well. I just think we all know he's not going to be the champion, so there's not really
Yeah,
much point to him, right? We kind of feel like he's a
that's what I'm
Pedro
saying.
Munoz kind of a guy. Like, all right, man, like
Like,
you're old, you fought a lot, like your time's kind of past you. Like, what are we doing here?
yeah, like go out like Korean Zombie, go out like Masvidal. Like, don't become this like Neil Magny esque figure. Like,
I
you
have
know
a
what I'm
fear
saying?
Derek Lewis is gonna have that happen to him because he just signed like a new like 6 fight deal, and I'm like, Derek Lewis in 3 fights is probably that's the end of Derek Lewis. I can't imagine fights 4, 5, and 6. My
Yeah, it's
God.
gonna be rough for sure. But yeah, I don't know, man. I thought Spann won, and I thought it would have been better for the division
Way
if Spann
better.
won.
That's not even
Yeah.
debatable. I fully agree. Let's keep it pushing. I have a lot of, I think, maybe hot takes about this fight. Maybe not
Oh,
hot
I think
takes.
so too. I think maybe we'll align on our hot takes for sure. Alex Caceres plus 200, 15th ranked featherweight, 35 years old, taking on Giga Chikadze, who's also 35 years old. I don't think people think of Giga as being 35. They think of him as kind of this up and comer. It's kind of shit or get off the pot
35 at
time for Giga.
145 is hard, too. 35 at
Yeah,
heavyweight, I have no problems. I'm seeing you for 5, 6 more years, probably, if you're very, very good. Even if you're light
yeah,
heavyweight,
for
maybe
sure.
that. If you're featherweight or if you're lightweight or lower, man, like 38's like that number where it's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
it's getting bad. So 3 years
Oh,
is
for
what we got
sure.
of these guys, maybe 2. Just in,
Yeah, that's
perspective here.
well, and I think it's fair to say Giga's trending downward, man. Like we may have seen the best Giga already. Like he may have peaked too early, or came to the UFC too late, or however you want to spin it, man. Because I thought the past 2 times we've seen him has been the worst 2 times we've seen him. Ninth ranked featherweight Giga minus 245 favorite. Man, I thought this fight was way closer than the judges did. When the judges read unanimous 30-27 Giga, my jaw like hit the floor.
I will say I
Now,
did score every round for Giga, but I thought they were all competitive and close, minus maybe the third was the one where he pulled away the most.
see, I thought Giga's best round was two. Personally, I first hot take of the segment here. I gave Caceres a very close round one. Man, those straight left hands at the start of the round were debatably the like best head punches of the round. The spinning back fist was a
The
thousand
back
percent
fist
probably
was
the
the
best.
was the best shot of I don't
Maybe
know
the
about the
fight.
5, maybe,
Maybe. I mean,
maybe.
it's up
Giga
there,
in round
top
3
three.
landed a fucking nuke as well that Caceres like
Yeah.
ate somehow. Just I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Giga kind of ate it, but you can tell it bothered him. And then, Giga had a good. But I thought Giga literally in my notes, I say like he looks rusty. Like this doesn't look like the scary Giga that I know and love. Like,
Yes, but I think 2 things. I thought his body kick was still hitting, but the second part of that, the other thing about that, is that Caceres is southpaw, and so his liver
yeah,
is shielded because it's not his backside. So, with that being the thing,
dope.
Giga kick kind of out of not really going to work. So when you take away his best weapon, you kind of see what you get.
He
So,
look he
in my
looks mid without the Giga kick, bro.
right, and I'm thinking if he has to fight a guy like Holloway that can go orthpaw or orthodox or southpaw, or Volkanovski that can go orthodox or southpaw, he has no shot because they'll
You're
sit in
just gonna go
southpaw
southpaw.
and pick him apart.
That's actually like some high level shit. Like I'm glad you picked up on that. Like that's yeah. Any fighter in featherweight that can fight southpaw that has a Giga fight coming up on the calendar, like they're just gonna train southpaw whole camp. I would.
I would for sure because Caceres exposed so many weak spots and was able to land body kicks back on Giga as well. Like, Giga is not comfortable having to match a southpaw.
And I also say like Giga did look rusty, and I
And
hope that's I because he looked one of two things. He either looked rusty or he looked old. So me saying that he looked rusty is actually like me being as generous as I can. Like, he kind of looked like shit.
Would
Now,
you
the reason why he looked like shit, we can debate. But
would you agree stylistically this is a great matchup for him too? A guy that wants to kind of kickbox and range strike with him.
exactly. That's why like, I was expecting like low key a show, and like in my head, I perceived just like Vegas did. Giga's on another level than Alex Caceres. After watching this fight, like him and Caceres is on the same level, and I don't know if that's saying something nice about Caceres or saying something mean about Giga. Probably something in the middle. But yeah. So I mean, I said I had it 2-1 going into the third. I mean, nobody agreed with me. Apparently, I didn't. I watched
I
this
don't
fight
think you're
late, so I
crazy
wasn't
though.
checking verdicts. Yeah,
I have super close in my notes for the first round. So like I
yeah.
have no problem with that going to Caceres. And I was surprised to hear unanimous 30-27 for that same reason. Round two, I thought Giga actually opened up a little more with his hands and was able to find more success head
Yeah,
striking.
round two like looked like Giga, which was dope. Like I was stoked. Like I was like, I'm kind of sound like I'm shitting on Giga. Like I entered this fight like as a Giga fan, wanting to see a Giga performance. That's why I'm like disappointed and let down. But round two gave me that a little taste though. Now round three, man, and maybe this is another hot take. I thought it was a close round. You sound like you said it was your favorite round from Giga, the biggest shot. I mean, the Rolling Thunder was sweet, but Rolling Thunder aside, I thought it was a very competitive round.
He landed a jab cross like a 1-2 on Caceres. I have no idea how he just like sat in the pocket and just like ate and then like smiled. It was whenever Felder and Bisping started talking about how frustrated they'd be with him smiling and shit. And Bisping was like, yeah, I tried to take his head off, and he was like, he laughed and he was like, well, that would be the reason he's doing it. Like he's trying to get me off my game. Like damn it, I'm falling for it and I'm not even fighting. But
Yeah.
right before that happened, Giga like cracked the shit out of him, and then he smiled, which I think to Bisping's point stands true. Like that's frustrating, but I do think it was a super good shot, and I think the reason Caceres like smiled like that, it is an acknowledgement of like you did crack me.
For sure. Man, and I gave the round to Giga. It was such a close round. And like I said, between my score of the first round and my interpretation of a razor thin third round, when they said 30-27, I was like, honestly kind of disappointed. Like, I feel like giving
Yeah,
Caceres like a little love, but your scorecard arrived. Like I see how you arrived there. I
yeah,
still,
it's
I'll
weird
take
because
Caceres' first round. I'd rather have Caceres' first round.
it's strange because I have a 30-27, but if you asked me about it, I'd say it was a super competitive fight.
Yeah, fair point. Both can exist. I acknowledge that, like round by round scoring, both can exist for sure.
Let's talk
And I do
about it.
think the right man won. I just didn't kind of dauber down on Giga, to be honest.
Right, I was going to say, let's talk about what you want next for Giga. Caceres maybe falls out of the rankings from that, although I'd say fighting that close with what is
Yeah,
that, number
I don't think it
nine?
should.
Like probably hold your
Yeah.
spot in my opinion. So Caceres probably fights an up and comer next for his ranking. I'd say is fair.
When like Cater already beat the dog shit out of him, so you can't let him skip Cater and fight Emmett, even though I think that fight would be pretty fucking sick, and Emmett would probably be a retirement fight for Emmett. So you maybe could do it. It'd be a fight night
Well,
main
when does
event.
Cater fight next? Because if you make Cater fight before him, then you kind of solve that problem.
Yeah, and did Cater fight Allen? I don't think Cater fought Allen. Yeah, I'm saying you could reward Cater with like a higher ranked guy, like Allen and Ortega. Ortega can't fucking ask for any favors right now. He has to fight back for
Didn't
sure.
Ortega beat the
So
shit out of Cater one time?
who like I'm getting confused on who all just beat up Cater. Every Cater fight's so blood and guts. Let me go to Tapology real quick. Memories betraying me.
He's
But I don't know. I think for Giga, like, do you test him with an Evloev? Like, if you're a UFC and you're like, all right, this guy's not who we thought he was. So yeah, Cater. Oh yeah, so yeah, Cater lost. You're right. He lost to Allen and he lost to Emmett.
yeah. Like, what do you do
So
with
and he
that
lost to
guy? And
Holloway.
he's coming off 2 losses. I don't think you give him someone above him.
You're right. You're right. I was kind of overvaluing the Giga win, which this fight makes that win look worse. So Cater, I guess, does fight. Maybe you give Cater Evloev
Yeah.
and,
And
and
Giga,
with
not
Josh Emmett.
him. Well, he's already lost him at just 2 fights ago.
Giga lost to Emmett? No, Cater lost to Emmett.
Mm.
Giga, I don't think. Yeah, Cater lost to Emmett. Giga
You're right.
lost only to Calvin Cater.
You're
I
right.
think Giga Emmett makes a lot of sense. I
You're
think it'd be fan friendly. It'd be a striker for Emmett that he could maybe like. There's a path of victory there for Emmett. possibly retirement fight for Emmett, and then fight night main event, probably Apex if we're being real, unless they're in Sacramento. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's my take. I think you do Giga Emmett, and I think you do, yeah, Caceres. You kind of do whatever with, like, but Evloev, you can do Evloev Giga if you're trying to feed Giga to Evloev. If you're trying to like feed Giga to Evloev and like consume that star and build Evloev, you could do that. If you're still trying to squeeze the juice out of Giga and let Giga go on a quote unquote run, you could give him Emmett. It really just what they matchmake Giga is gonna like let you know what the UFC like plans for Giga are.
I agree with you on that for sure. Like how do they keep him on track, or do they kind of try to slow roll him?
Yeah, for sure.
That being said,
this next fight,
I want to keep it pushing the next fight, and I also want to talk about the card placement being absolutely absurd compared to the fight that took place before this one. I cannot believe this fight takes place after Blanchfield Santos. But that being said, bantamweight's Rinya Nakamura, who is a massive hype train, Japanese Olympic wrestler and also winner of Road to UFC, taking on Fernie Garcia, who, I mean, what was he, plus 600?
Yeah.
I mean, this fight's 30-27 on two cards, but it's really not close.
No, this was a can crushing. It was.
Yeah.
It was a can crushing. It was a trade off. Like the Asian fans are going to have to watch Korean Zombies execution. So
right, like we'll give you Rinya with an easy, like we'll give your medium-sized fish a small fish, and we'll give your big fish a shark.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly that. This was one for the East Asian crowd that was in attendance.
We're chumming the waters.
Yeah, for sure. Like, hey, we can't just like execute all your guys out here. We'll but,
especially after Armfield.
I'll be real. Like, I don't think this is a round by rounder, so we got to turn and burn it a little bit, pressed for time here. Rinya Nakamura looked every bit the part of a minus 900. I'll have to ask you this: did you have any 10-8s? I did not.
I did not, and the one judge that did had it in the first round, and I think that's the craziest round to have had a 10-8.
Yeah,
the one where he gets armbar is the only one where it's reasonably close to 10-8.
Well, I thought round 3 was the only round with actual damage with the head kick.
With the head kick and the bows on the ground, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought if there was going to be any... So the fact that we can't even agree on which one it would hypothetically be, I think proves the point that it was a 30-27.
I also think that that armbar kind of showed some novice jiu-jitsu because he's in the right position. Everything is set up. Man, he's trying to hold his forearm. He's got to hold the thumb. It's all about thumb control when you're extended, right? Like if dude can make a thumbs up, you're not going to armbar him because you're trying to go, like you're bending here on his joint. You need it to be here. So you need to have his thumb like that. So essentially all you have to do is grab this hand and hold the thumb this way, other hand here, hold the hand open, and you control it by the hand, which he didn't do.
I'll say, though, I like his style, bro. I like his style. Thanks for bringing that to the show. That was a dope, like, technical breakdown. I do like, because he's a wrestler, so he gets on top. We always talk about these submission artists trying to play guard too much. So he's an Olympic-level wrestler, so he gets on top, and I've never seen a guy love north-south position as much as this guy.
So weird.
North-south heavy, which is just awkward to prepare for, right? Not many people are trained in that position extensively. Side control guy as well. So he likes these kind of quirky positions. He makes them work for him. And, I mean, hell, how many different subs did we see attempted? We saw a north-south choke attempt, a key lock attempt, a guillotine attempt, an armbar attempt. So, like, I'll say, like, for a grappler as a fan to watch and I imagine to prepare for, very, like, quirky and intriguing. And I don't know, like, you're right. He's 8-0 now after this one. He's massive hype train, like you said.
Good cardio. Did show good cardio.
Also, I'm stoked for these Japanese grapplers, Tatsuro Taira.
Right.
This guy, like this new wave, bro, of Japanese like submission specialists is kind of sick. Like also, it's different. Like it's different to watch. I think it's different on the eyes.
Speaking of the Japanese fans in attendance, did you see the ones that had the chains that were like the huge chains with you have the letters UFC on the bottom? There were fans that were wearing like massive, like just like silver chains. Bro, it's Rampage Jackson's like same chain that he used to wear when he walked out. Oh, they just put UFC dope. On it. So, like, think about how long that's withstood the test of time in Southeastern Asia.
Oh, I was about to say, the crowd had a much more, like, old-school UFC feel. Like, from the hand-drawn signs to that, you said the Rampage reference, the just the overall energy. It reminded me of like
Also,
kind of like the
they're
Just Bleed guy, the famous like Just Bleed
yeah,
UFC fan. Like there's a lot of that energy in the crowd, which is kind of fun.
their understanding of like grappling positions was awesome. Like they would cheer whenever dudes would get guard passes or like would go and set up submissions, and like they were I guess intelligent enough or nuanced with grappling enough to understand the positional a, a matchup that was
Also,
happening. It was great.
Singapore looked fucking sick, dude. Like I might be a bucket lister. Like I wouldn't mind
The three
checking out
buildings with the
Singapore.
one thing on the top that's like a pool on the edge. I was like, what the hell? That thing is
It's
cool.
like, yeah, it's like if Vegas was in the Bahamas. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like a
Quite
beautiful
literally.
island with like, yeah, like with this top flight like architecture. I don't know. I wouldn't mind checking out Singapore. It looked pretty fucking sick. But yeah, I mean, big. I mean, you can't say big win for Nakamura. I guess main card of a no, it wasn't a pay per view. Main card though, got him on the main card. Big win. He looked dominant. Bantamweight. There's a million guys to match him up with. I won't even attempt to, maybe they give him a black shear type of guy. Who knows? There's a million matchups you can make there, but let's keep it pushing here because this next fight, huge implications. I like debatably a number one contenders match, although kind of in a Sandhagen fought way. Like I think the performance kind of made it not a number one contenders match. I don't know. I think Rose Fioro coming up. I think next week is like if they have an exciting electric fight, these girls are getting jumped regardless of who wins. I think this fight was a little snoozy. And I think the decision was a little controversial. We got to go round by round on this one.
Yeah, honestly, aside from round one, kind of a snoozy fight, and that's all Aaron Blanchfield's fault.
It is.
And I mean,
Yeah.
getting into it, well, it's Blanchfield's the
Blanchfield,
slight favorite, correct?
yeah, minus 155, third in the world, only 24 years old still, which is nuts. Santos plus 130, small dog, fourth ranked in the world. So we have 3 versus 4 with number one already booked and fights in like 3 weeks or whatever. And then the other top contenders are booked next week. So we have like a little Grand Prix here between Rose, Fioro, Blanchfield, and Santos. And Blanchfield and Santos they're saying the right things, like, oh no, this is the number one contenders match. But I'm not sold. If Rose or Fioro goes out there and gets a knockout, especially after this snooze fest, I think they get the shot.
Well, it's so weird because coming into this fight, I thought to myself, like, there's no way this isn't a number one contenders match. And leaving the fight, I think to myself, I don't know that I want the number one contender to be the winner. Um,
Yeah. Like I said, especially if next week's fight is sick as fuck. Rose's debut at flyweight against Fioro, like that has banger written all over it.
Super banger. Also,
Yeah.
I think that I thought Santos looked looked really good in the first round. Like I thought her
Yes.
hands looked hot. I thought her takedown defense withstood the whole fight. Obviously, I don't think Blanchfield's credited with one takedown because she never got full control.
Yep.
Maybe one. I need to
So,
check that.
no, I
But
think I think she got one in the third, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, actually, no, in the second
yeah,
round,
credited with
she really
zero.
reversed. She
Credited with
reversed
zero.
Santos's takedown, which was
Right.
really Santos's biggest mistake was shooting that takedown in round two.
I
If she
agree because
doesn't,
she
she
won
maybe
round
gets her
one.
hand
You
raised.
you agree she
Yeah,
won
she
round
won.
one?
Yes, she won the damage. She busted up Blanchfield's nose pretty bad. Those knees to the body were sick as fuck. They were getting. Felder was comparing him to Barbosa's knees. Like, I don't think we think of Santos as some elite striker. Like, she's an A+ athlete for the women's flyweight division. I mean, absolute stud. Hands were faster, stronger. Those knees were brutal. Busted up Blanchfield's nose, stuffed every takedown. A+ round for Santos if I'm her coach. Like, I don't have any criticism.
Fully agree, man. I thought it was a fantastic round for Santos. I thought her hands were active, her kicks and knees looked good. Takedown defense looked great. For Blanchfield, it was kind of, hey, you better figure out how to grapple this girl in some sort of a way because you clearly cannot strike with her. Which in round
Thousand
two,
percent.
she was able to get closer in on the range and get to a place where she was more comfortable and kind of stymieing the activity from Santos. Now, as far as like how much damage did Blanchfield get off on her own, I think that's where the real debate in these rounds comes in. Is like,
Well, this whole fight comes down to how you score round two. This whole fight. And like I said, so you're 1,000% right. Round two, I mean, Blanchfield gets a lot of snoozy clinch, but it was the bad kind of clinch. It wasn't like it was an active tie clinch or even a boxing tie up or even a body lock. It was failed takedowns against the fence, getting stuffed. Like we've had this debate a million times on the podcast. Like, should that even be counted as clinch control time? It's more of a fail than a win, and so to score it as a win is tough for me. But then Tyler Santos fucked up, and she shot her own takedown, got reversed, and ended up with Blanchfield on top. I don't know if it was just me being stubborn. I gave round 2 to Santos because of the damage. Like, Blanchfield got almost no damage off.
But Santos hardly got any off either because she was only free to get damage off for like 40 seconds.
Bro, those clinch elbows in those snoozy positions, all those clinch control time for Blanchfield, she was winning the damage battle that whole clinch control. Like, she was getting little cheeky elbows in from time to time, and Blanchfield did nothing of the sort. Razor close, hard to score for all the wrong reasons. You have somebody who got some damage off, but not a lot, and made a poor IQ decision and got a takedown reverse, ended up on bottom, versus a fighter who reversed the takedown and had some clinch control time, if you want to call it that, with literally no damage. I mean, either way, it's a lawyer ball. Like, literally, if you score it to Blanchfield, you got to lawyer ball the clinch control. And if you score it to Santos, you got to overvalue and lawyer ball the few clinch elbows that took place. So that's how I feel about it. It was kind of I gave it to Santos. Sounds like you gave it to Blanchfield. The judges gave it to Blanchfield.
I gave it to Blanchfield on this premise. Santos at no point in that round could dictate any part of the position. At no point did she, besides getting the takedown, but then she immediately lost it. So, like, at no point was she in control of where the fight was taking place. And I thought the damage was so negligible either way that, like, I got to go to who's at least in control, which was definitely Blanchfield in the second round.
Relatively fair argument. Like I said, that argument exists. I just hated that round from Blanchfield so much. And she was fighting that way because she was scared. And she could not,
Agree that Blanchfield was fighting that way because she knew that she could not win on the feet, and her only path to victory was being in positional control. Fully agree with that. Which getting to round 3, she once again does. And do you score round 3 for Blanchfield or again for Santos?
No, because Santos did not have the damage in 3 that she had in 2. Blanchfield had all the snoozy control. Don't get me wrong. That part.
Yeah, right. Agreed.
But Santos got. So like, if I barely edged it to Santos in 2, and that's with some clinch elbows, you remove those clinch elbows, I can't give it to Santos. It's snoozy, and I don't like it, but you got to give 3 to Blanchfield. That's why I said, like, round 1 is Santos, round 3 is Blanchfield. How you score round 2, I thought was pretty subjective, but apparently the judges did not.
I agree with you in the sense of the subjectivity. I just think the judges, for some reason, weren't. I don't know. Maybe that positional control was it for them as well. However, I think the biggest takeaway from this fight, man, is that I don't necessarily want to see Blanchfield get a title shot. I think she needs another fight to prove that she deserves it, which is unfortunate. But at the age of 24, I'm not fully sold. If she was 35, all right, give it to her because, like, we got to give it to her at some point. At 24, and I know it's so lethal to say, like, what, she's number 2 now? Or number 1? Number 2, obviously, because one of the champ are about to fight. But, like, you know, number 2 in the division pretty much should have, well, Fiore's number 2, but you'd think if 3 being 4, you might get to jump to. Anyway, point being.
But it all comes down to next week. Like I said, this all works itself out. Rose and Fiore next week is going to answer, like, literally do our jobs for us. Make any job for them. Like,
yes, kind of. Because there is the chance that Shevchenko beats Grasso. And in which case, does Grasso not get to fight her again?
Probably not. And Shevchenko might retire, perhaps.
Well, then in that case, Grasso then obviously gets the shot again.
Maybe. I mean, Grasso, bro, she is not a star at all.
I think what could be on the potential rise is Valentina winning again, staying in, Grasso fighting her a third time, winner of Rose Fiore fighting Blanchfield.
I'll say this: if Rose wins, the UFC is not giving Grasso that rematch. They're making that fight. That's one of the only few women's fights that could make some money.
That's probably definitely fair with name value. Fiore wins, though. I can see Fiore Blanchfield before if Grasso and Shevchenko fight a third time.
Yeah. No, all those honestly, and it's kind of as fans, we're in a win-win. I don't think any of those are like bad for us as fans. Like those are all sick. Mix them, match them. You know what I'm saying? Who like sign me up for all that?
Right, and well, hell, I mean, if you got to make Blanchfield sit and wait, so be it. She's 24. It's not a big. It's not the biggest loss. I mean, I hate to be that
And
guy,
she
but
has holes to fill. And she has holes to fill.
right, like promotionally, I might sit with her in the back room and be like, "Hey, take a year, get your
Get
striking more
better.
developed. Like you can get this next shot, but like winner Rose Fiora is going to get next. You can get in later, or get the loser if you got to fight."
Yeah. On some Sandhagen shit, right? Like that performance. I see a lot of parallels with Sandhagen's win over Spann. Like could have got you a title fight, but probably didn't because it sucked to watch. But let's keep it pushing. This next fight was short to watch, and it'll be short to break down. We got 4-1 Junior Tapa minus 140, jerking the curtain against Parker Porter, 38 years old, plus 120, and I mean, this fight pretty much went how it was supposed to go. I was honestly kind of shocked. I didn't bet this card just because I purely just fucked up the whole timeline. I probably would have bet Tafa in this one. Age gap, size gap. I mean, Porter's just the definition of salty mid-veteran.
Porter's
I don't know,
38,
bro.
man. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this fight went how it was supposed to go. This is a get-right fight for Tafa.
I mean, he's four. It's tough because Parker Porter's 4-4 in the UFC. And like he beats Cans. He's lost to both Tafa brothers, Chris Dawkins and Jalton Almeida. So it's like I don't hate his losses either. But it's just like his body, his presentation, the fact that when he wins, it's not really usually I mean, it's 3 decisions and 1 finish, and it's like a heavyweight, I kinda need some finishes here, buddy.
I do like betting Porter overs for that reason, though. Wouldn't have hit this one, though. Would not have hit this
I
one.
would not have hit this
This
one, and that is because Junior Tafa has a dynamite in his hands.
Yeah, I mean, hell, you could have debatably stopped it after the clinch knee, and Porter is able to recover slightly, and then he finishes. He stuffs the takedown, finishes him off with a huge right hand. Didn't even land clean too. It was one of those heavyweight shots that like didn't. It was so powerful that it didn't even have to land that clean. And it was like the top of his head still just absolutely just folded him. Uh, yeah, I mean, Papa fought exactly like we thought he would fight. He offered the fucking problems that we all knew. We all knew he was a knockout guy. We all knew if he finishes it in the first round, it's probably better for him stylistically.
Well, it's
Yeah,
tou-
I mean, I
it's
don't know.
it's super tough because Justin Tafa 4 months ago finished Parker Porter in 1 minute 6 seconds, and now Junior Tafa now finished him in 1 minute 24 seconds.
So the camp had all the reads on Porter, all
Right,
the
that's exactly what
yeah.
I'm saying. Is like everything that he needed to know, he could probably have asked his brother. And for Parker Porter, you'd say to him like, "Hey, you know everything this guy's got," except that he's way younger and way faster. So like, congrats on knowing your reaction time's not there.
Well, and that was probably like an emotional, like, well, I got to get my get back on his brother. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't his manager. Maybe should have intervened.
For
I don't know.
sure.
Because, yeah, for sure, bro. But I mean, you could argue big win for Junior Topo. Hell, when you're 4-1 and you're getting a win on a main card of an arena fight night, I mean, you that's a big win. Like when you're that early in your career, that's a big win. And I'm happy for him. And I just, he'll never have the skill set to compete with like the Almeidas of the world. He'll just be one of these heavyweights that they need depth, they need bodies. He's entertaining. You can throw him on a main card for caveman heavyweight reasons.
See, now, hold on now. I think this is true of his brother. I think I actually like Junior Tafa a lot more. He's a lot more fit. He's not like the super, quote unquote, fat Samoan. Like, I think he has a lot more promise than Justin Tafa.
Agreed. I just think the careers end up looking pretty similar. And in hell, he started with like 3 fights. Like it's just how polished is he going to get? How well rounded is he going to get? Like there's a definite ceiling. Like, and I think
would you have said that about Tuivasa though? Because like originally I would have, and then he kind of he left the UFC, came back, and had a breakthrough.
also think it's fair to say Tuivasa probably overachieved. Outkicked his coverage a little bit.
Well, yeah, now we're seeing that definitely take
That
place.
chicken's coming home to roost. You know what I'm saying? And now Tuivasa's down to 6. I don't think
Speaking of
I mean,
chickens,
I'll
I
say
got 8 of them.
that's sick. That's sick. Bro, I'll say sign me up for Junior Top with Derek Lewis though if you want to. Like fights like
Not
that.
yet,
Like,
not yet.
but I'm just saying, like that's
Jamal
the ceiling.
Pogues.
I think another guy. I'd rather see him fight the feature prelim guy. Honestly,
How about Alain Badeau?
yeah. But I mean, we're saying here, we're not saying world beater. I feel like you're just trying to put a bow on it. We're saying like, yeah, like maybe crack the top 15 one day. Like, that'd be cool.
Yeah, maybe I'm not naming the best quality of opponents because I just don't believe the most.
That's what I'm saying. But I think that's fair. Like, I don't think if you start enter the UFC at like 3-1, that like you can have world title aspirations. Like, I just don't think that's like the order of which that process goes.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's wrap it up. Let's keep pushing to these prelims next up. For anyone watching at home, episode 144, like and subscribe. Don't you call your mother. She's already subscribed. She's got a number. All right, ask her for it while you like and subscribe. We'll be right back to break down the prelims before D-Mac has to hit work. He's loving my paisano requests right here for your mother.